All, closer you eyes. Part 1, The Invitation. Blackwood Manor was a sprawling, Gothic estate, hidden deep within the woods of New England. The locals whispered about its dark history, but few had ever ventured close. One foggy autumn evening, a group of 5 friends received a mysterious invitation. It was elegantly written, inviting them to spend the weekend at Blackwood Manor for an exclusive tour and a chance to experience its chilling legacy firsthand. Intrigued by the promise of adventure, they accepted the invitation. There was Emily, a fearless journalist always in search of a great story, her brother Jack, a skeptic who never believed in the supernatural, Claire, a shy artist with a keen sense for the eerie, Tom, a history buff fascinated by old legends, and Sarah, a thrill-seeker always ready for the next big scare. They arrived at the manor as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the grounds. The manor was imposing, its dark windows staring down at them like watchful eyes. As they approached the grand entrance, the heavy wooden doors creaked open, revealing a butler who looked like he belonged to another century. "Welcome to Blackwood Manor," he said in a low, gravelly voice. "Please, come inside." Part 2, The First Night. Inside, the manor was a labyrinth of dimly lit hallways and grand, yet decaying, rooms. The friends were shown to their quarters, each more luxurious and more sinister than the last. They gathered in the parlor for dinner, served by the silent butler. The meal was delicious, but the atmosphere was tense. As the night deepened, the friends explored the manor. They discovered old portraits of the Blackwood family, each with eyes that seemed to follow them. In the library, Tom found an old journal, its pages filled with strange symbols and cryptic entries about dark rituals and unspeakable horrors. Emily, ever the journalist, recorded everything on her phone. She interviewed her friends, capturing their initial excitement and growing unease. Jack laughed off their fears, mocking the idea of ghosts. But Claire, sensitive to the supernatural, felt an oppressive presence. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As midnight approached, they decided to turn in. Each was given a different room in various parts of the manor. That night, the manor came alive. Emily woke to the sound of whispering, growing louder and more frantic. She followed the voices to the library, where the journal lay open, pages flipping by themselves. Jack, in his room, felt an icy hand brush against his face. He bolted upright, but there was no one there. His skepticism wavered as he heard footsteps echoing down the hallway, moving closer. Claire's room was filled with the scent of roses, but it quickly turned to the stench of decay. She saw a figure in the corner, a woman in a tattered dress, her face obscured by shadows. Claire screamed, and the figure vanished. Tom found himself drawn to the basement, where he discovered an old chapel filled with grotesque statues and an altar stained with blood. Sarah, who had always loved a good scare, found herself genuinely terrified as her bed shook violently, and the walls seemed to close in on her. Part 3, The Discovery. The next morning, the friends gathered in the parlor, their faces pale and drawn. Each had experienced something terrifying, something that defied explanation. They decided to leave, but the butler informed them that the gates were locked until the weekend was over. They were trapped. Determined to uncover the truth, they delved deeper into the manor's history. They discovered that the Blackwood family had practiced dark magic, seeking immortality through human sacrifice. The manor was cursed, and the spirits of the victims roamed its halls, seeking vengeance. Emily proposed a plan: if they could find the source of the curse and destroy it, they might break the manor's hold over them. They split up to search for clues. Jack and Tom returned to the basement, where they found a hidden passage leading to an underground chamber. There, they discovered the remains of the sacrificial altar and the bones of the victims. Emily, Claire, and Sarah searched the attic, where they found a locked trunk. Inside were letters from the Blackwood patriarch, detailing the rituals and a talisman used to control the spirits. They realized that destroying the talisman might free the trapped souls. Part 4, The Confrontation. Reuniting, they descended to the underground chamber. The atmosphere grew colder, and shadows seemed to dance along the walls. As they approached the altar, the spirits of the Blackwood family appeared, their faces twisted in rage. The friends held the talisman high, but the spirits attacked, their ghostly forms striking with supernatural force. Jack, using his knowledge of physics, suggested they break the talisman by smashing it against the altar. As they did, a blinding light filled the chamber, and the spirits let out a deafening wail. The ground shook, and the chamber began to collapse. The friends ran for their lives, barely making it out as the manor crumbled behind them. The butler, who had been a servant of the spirits, vanished in the chaos. Part 5: The Aftermath. Exhausted and shaken, they reached the safety of the woods. As the sun rose, they looked back to see Blackwood Manor reduced to rubble. The curse was lifted, and the spirits were free. Returning to town, they shared their story with the locals, who were both horrified and relieved. The manor's dark legacy was finally at an end. Emily wrote an article that became a sensation, while the others tried to move on from the harrowing experience. But every now and then, they would catch a glimpse of a shadow in the corner of their eye or hear a faint whisper in the dead of night, reminding them of the horrors they faced at Blackwood Manor. Subscribe for Part 2. Thank you.